Hey, Homer, I need to ask you a favor. My babysitter canceled and I got tickets to a Christian rock concert.
It is kind of funny.
Terrific Tariq Lucy's. Y'all know I'm not one to talk about new cartoons like right after they come out. Shoot, I barely even watch cartoons anymore. But I watched that new Everybody Still Hates Chris a few days ago when it premiered on Comedy Central with some friends. And I was really surprised that I actually had a lot to say about it, so I thought I'd make a quick video. So, I'm gonna talk about my general thoughts on the show, the way it connects to the original, and even offer up some character analysis on Chris, and where it looks like they're gonna take his character over the course of this thing's run. Mild spoilers, maybe? Nothing too crazy, you'll see worse just scrolling through your timeline.
History doesn't repeat itself, it reboots, and everybody hates a reboot.
Real quick though, today's video is actually brought to you by my indie pilot, Hey. It is basically written like a Bob's Burgers episode if Bob was allowed to say nigga.
What nigga don't want to see that?
We're in the middle of finishing up the animation on the theme song and gearing up to do our Indiegogo campaign sometime in the near future. But if you have it to spare, please consider donating to the show so we can get a head start. Links are down below. Okay, now, here's a thing that I edited.
Gosh.
So for anybody unclear, Everybody Hates Chris was a sitcom from the mid-2000s created by Chris Rock about his childhood growing up in Brooklyn in the 80s, with a fictionalized version of his family that does not include Tony Rock. Also, apparently this nigga had like 5 brothers. I was a real big fan of the show back when it was airing, but even 15 years later, there's so many jokes, episodes, and moments that I look back on super fondly. It's probably one of the reasons I am who I am today. I'm not sure if that's a good thing. They've been talking about this animated reboot, Everybody Still Hates Chris, for years. I low-key thought this shit was just gonna never come out on some Roger Rabbit 2 shit. The kids were recast, but pretty much all the adult cast is back reprising their roles, which is cool. Chris Rock is back doing all the narration, sneaking in those stupid one-liners littered all throughout the episodes. It would not be the same show without these.
Ignoring you? I've been thinking about you all day. Don't say that out loud.
Really? I've been thinking about you all day too.
Never mind, you do you.
We're only 2 episodes in, but it looks like they're trying to add some new characters too to really round out that world, which I think is a good call. They got this piece of graffiti that Chris talks to, which is kind of cool. Gives him someone to vent his frustrations to that's not this fake ass Greg.
Car fumes must be getting to me.
Car fumes must be getting to me. Why you being a little bitch?
There's a crack fiend in the 2nd episode that is very clearly voiced by and looks exactly like Chris Rock, which is definitely a New Jack City reference because every black cartoon comes with just a little bit of homework. Even if you want to enjoy Craig of the Creek, bro, you still gotta look up a little Missy Elliott. Surprising as hell to me though, this show kicks off literally seconds after the original show. Some of the first art that they dropped showed the characters in the exact same diner that they were in the last scene, which stood out to me because literally, when else has this family ever been able to afford to go out to eat? In a few hours before the episodes came out, the homie Nick showed me the name of the episode, which is practically a dead giveaway. For those who don't know or just don't remember because you started paying bills since this show ended, the final episode of Everybody Hates Chris is about Chris being threatened with having to repeat the 10th grade because he has to take 3 buses to get to school and his teacher won't cut him any slack, so he's been late 30 times. Chris, not fucking with the embarrassment that comes with that, decides to get his GED, so he drops out. The series finale ended with a parody of The Sopranos, where right before we find out whether or not Chris passed the GED, it cuts to black before we can even get an answer. I wouldn't leave y'all hanging like that, man. Come on. The last scene was always a little annoying to me, I ain't gonna lie. They keep cutting the characters that we don't know. I think it's supposed to be part of the parody. There's definitely a thickness in the air that tells you that this is the end. But nobody knew what any of this shit meant, dude. I've been reading forums for years trying to figure this shit out. The most I've been able to figure out over the years is that Chris says this.
Hey, Mom, I heard they were hiring at Red Lobster.
Because when he actually did drop out of school and get his GED in real life, he ended up getting a job at Red Lobster. And by able to figure out, I mean read on Wikipedia, like every other channel you watch. Yes, even that one. especially that one actually. I had read a theory that the number on the rear of Julius's truck was supposed to be Chris's actual GED score, but yeah, no, that would have made this nigga some kind of super genius. Forgive me for spending so long on the original show, by the way. It's not every day I get to talk about something where the characters don't talk to each other in the 3/4 view in every shot.
What's it say?
You failed.
What?
Boy, I'ma slap you in the animation.
Ow.
I think it is so relentlessly brilliant that they went in this direction. Looking at the behavior of your main character from the series finale and really examining it. When Chris is threatened with staying back, his parents do not help him. They actually gaslight his mom out of helping him.
You don't really want your son being coddled and helped through life and all of its obstacles like some rich little white girl, do you?
Say yes, say yes!
No. Well, I guess you're right.
Matter of fact, him being the oldest, he rarely ever goes to them as the show goes on, because he feels like he knows how they'll react. So he takes every issue into his own hands. Instead of telling his family that Al Bundy won't let him into class, or the toll the 3-bus trip every morning is having on him, Chris tries his best to get to school on time, and when he finally loses that battle, he already has a plan and a solution. Rochelle knows that Chris has to repeat the 10th grade because he's been late, but I don't think the gravity of the circumstances that got him to this point has ever really been explained to her. His family wasn't that big a part in this, despite this being a major turning point in his life. So to hear Rochelle react to what we already knew Chris went through in the 2009 episode is so interesting. It's a really brilliant piece of writing. It makes these 2 episodes almost feel like a 2-parter now.
Baby, I had no idea. Why didn't you tell us?
I tried to handle it myself. Guess I was too dumb to do that too.
The original show was really sweet. It always made sure to let you know that while everybody did hate Chris, it wasn't the end of the world for him. Shit kept happening to him, but he had his family and people that really wanted to make sure that he was okay. That's probably the most important puzzle piece of what made this thing work as well as it did. And it's great to know that they didn't get rid of that, especially in an era where adult animated sitcoms could care less about that kind of thing.
Hi, Dad.
Anyway, please donate to my pilot.
I've been thinking for months about how this show would translate to animation, and I gotta say, the end result is really interesting. The original show would do these big random things, some cutaway gags, and I was worried that they wouldn't be as funny when animated, since part of the appeal of the original show was that absurd nature of it just being a live action cartoon in some ways. But I don't know, they mostly worked here for me. I think these are executed pretty well. There's a little Rick and Morty hoops thing going on with the animation. I think really in the way the characters and their limbs move. As far as the design, I'm not the first one to say it, but it really reminds me of the Jellies from Adult Swim. AKA the show that I thought gaslit me until I found out that the episode that I saw but people didn't was actually banned in its original form, and I just have to live with that shit in my head now.
I want you to really concentrate on me.
What I've really been struggling with though is how some characters like Julius or Doc, Morello, Kill Moves, they are very clearly modeled after the actors that portrayed them in the original show. But then you got like this fake ass Drew. I don't know who nephew this is.
I'm gonna win the hot dog eating contest. The trick is not to chew.
Or Jerome, my nigga, if his first line wasn't "Lil Dude from across the street," I wouldn't even be able to tell you who this was. I also had to Google his name because I always forget, even back in 2008. Look at Mr. Omar, bruh. This nigga long as hell. He look like Spies in Disguise. Fam, look at Caruso. Y'all can't have Chris getting beat up by this nigga, little ass rat tail. I guess it don't make a difference. The original just kind of look like Barry from American Dad. Chris is really interesting because this pretty much looks absolutely nothing like Tyler James Williams. But he does look like Chris Rock, so it's like, how could you even argue against it? Well, you don't have to. Not everything needs to be an argument. It feels like the writing was trying to make the exact same show, but the character designers were just kind of told to do whatever, so everything just kind of falls in the middle. I think also some stuff with some characters' ages are a bit wonky. Chris sounds significantly younger than TJW did by season 4.
Look, I'm not repeating the 10th grade. I don't know what else to do.
I can't fake being in a gang. It'll get me in trouble with a real gang.
I know she's supposed to be in like 6th grade, but it really feels like they aged Tanya down too. I think it's the hair, definitely right for her age, but she was like wearing her hair out by this point in the show. including this scene. This new Greg makes my stomach hurt, bruh. I am sorry. I'm usually not this mean, but I cannot stand this Poindexter-ass voice they gave him.
What would people say if they saw me with Drew's brother?
Drew's brother? It's what they're calling you now.
I totally get the intention to recast all the kids, to give them younger voices, but they could have made an exception, bruh. Not only does Vincent Martella sound exactly the same, but he's literally a voice actor.
I love Justin Bieber.
I don't see the point in casting another white boy if you can't find a white boy that's funnier than Phineas Flynn.
And when I asked if she was going to the block party, she said, maybe I'll see you there.
Dude, that's like girl code for I want your body. You're so in there.
Ah, he said the thing, you got me. I think everybody's basically the same characterization-wise besides Rochelle and Tanya. Rochelle is exaggerated a bit, not even in performance. Just in his first episode, she kind of feels like Francine from American Dad. Except this time, all the black shit that she says actually makes sense.
Homegirl don't even have to work. Homegirl get that paper all on her own.
Stop that. You're white.
I'm homegirl.
But she's not like a static character. She still grows, learns things, and still feels like Rochelle. They gave her like an arc about government cheese, and that second one was great. No notes there. Just by these first two, it really feels like they flanderized Tanya and sucked every little bit of likability out of her. She was always kind of the worst, but it got to the point where I was kind of annoyed every time she showed up. I hope there's some episodes soon that re-explore her characters so I don't gotta feel that way.
Guess I was too dumb to do that too.
It's always something with him.
Just the worst, bruh. Fuck. The music is probably the most disappointing part. I see what they're going for, but I'm not really fucking with it. No theme song either. Like, I thought we were past the title card era. That shit should have died with regular show. They still do end every episode with that little everybody hates Chris thing like in the original show, which I was really happy about. But I think this is one of those things that works so much better in live action because it kind of comes off as a little awkward in animated form. I think it's because cartoons normally move faster, so it feels like the episode kind of like slows down for it. Or maybe it's because the coverage over these parts feels more natural in live action. I don't really know how to describe it.
Everybody still hates Chris.
I don't really know how to fix this, so good luck, y'all. Man, I got a few issues, but I am so happy with how much I loved Everybody Still Hates Chris. For the first time in like 5 years, I'm actually excited to see the direction a new cartoon is going in. Because I'm gonna keep it 100, I had tapped out after 2 getting Baby Girl. I don't know why they made this show. That probably sounds a little mean and blunt, but honestly, I don't think I know. Whenever those new Futurama episodes come up in conversation, me and the homie Johnny always talk about waiting for that eventual thing that they do that justifies the return. An episode that is so good that it rivals some of the best the original cartoon had to offer. If you have a super strong finale that resonates with people, a good length run that really feels like lightning in a bottle, as a fan, we feel like there has to be a legitimate good artistic reason for you to tempt that fate. It's only 2 episodes in, so I'm excited to see if Everybody Still Hates Chris will deliver on that front, or if it'll just be a silly cartoon. But I think they're on the right track. I fuck with this heavy. Give it a shot if you got the time. It comes on Comedy Central Wednesdays, and I think I read that they throwing that bitch up on Paramount Plus too. If they were gonna bring this show back at the very least, I'm at least glad that it's good. That's it. I thought I was gonna end this thing with like a pun on the title or something, but I think everybody'd hate that.
Misunderstood. Everybody thinks he's up to no good. Whenever he's around, things go wrong. The kid sticks out like a sore thumb. He thinks he's funny, but he sends people running. Even his family knows that he won't grow. The middle child growing up Brooklyn style. Things get complicated. No wonder he's so hated.